Centered. Good to go. Hi, I'm Casey. Welcome to Making Stuff with Casey. Okay, so today we're making a delightful spice cake. Yeah, sounds pretty normal, right? Wrong. Today, we're gonna make a Campbell Soup spice cake. You may have seen the image floating around on Facebook or the internet, however you choose to internet. And it looks really gross. So I decided that I'm gonna make it and show you if it's gross or not. So, I got all my ingredients together. So, we're gonna start with flour, and they say sift it, but I don't have a sifter, so I'm going to skip that part. But it's 1 3/4 cup flour. Probably be helpful if I read the directions. Preheat oven to 350. Check. Grease and flour a 9-inch tube pan. Check. In a large bowl, we're going to sift together the dry ingredients, not sifting. So we have our flour, and we'll add baking soda and a spice mixture of cinnamon, clove, and nutmeg. I would just use pumpkin spice if you don't have the individual ones. Put that over here. Give it a mix to incorporate everything. We're gonna mix it up later, so it doesn't really matter how well that's mixed. And next, so we're gonna add together some shortening, which I really wanted to use butter, but we're gonna stay authentic and use the shortening. Handy dandy spatula. And then the tomato soup. This recipe originally came from Campbell's, and it was, I guess it would be considered a retro recipe at this point. Although we don't have to use a can opener because it has a convenient pop top. So the instructions say to add to the shortening half a can of the soup. Then we're gonna beat it until smooth. This recipe also called for a cream cheese frosting, but we don't have any cream cheese, and I don't want to waste delightful cream cheese on something that might be gross, so if it turns out good, maybe I'll add it later. That sounds great. It looks delicious. Some shortening and tomato soup, just like Mom used to make. It's kind of clumpy right now, so they say smooth. My house isn't particularly warm. I did try and make the shortening room temp. I left it out for a little while, but it looks like it's not going to really fully incorporate and smooth out. Add the remaining soup. Gotta get every last drop. And eggs, 2 eggs. And we'll beat that together. I was just thinking, I'm surprised there's no salt in it, but it's condensed tomato soup. There's plenty of salt in it. The recipe also, it's technically a fruit cake. It's a spiced fruit cake. It's got raisins. They said either mincemeat prepared, which it's not 1930 anymore, so I don't think you can just buy mincemeat in the store. And they said, or chopped fruits, and I looked for apricots, didn't have any apricots, but we did have raisins, because we found these awesome raisins on nuts.com. Hashtag not sponsored. Oh, restart is required. No, you will not. So we have our eggs, shortening, soup, all together. It's still kind of chunky, but well mixed. It says next. Oh, I was supposed to mix the shortening with the flour. Oh, okay. I see where this is going. We're going a little out of order. But I'm sure it will still taste good nonetheless. Also, technically, usually in most baking recipes, sugar is considered a wet ingredient. So, but this here, they called it a dry ingredient. The instructions are pretty vague, so I feel like leaves room for error. This does not smell great at all. It smells like spicy tomato soup. Like Christmas spices and tomato soup. Yeah, it almost looks like a bready, almost. Well, all the flour's disappeared. It actually looks pretty smooth. I can't really see chunks of shortening in there. And it also called for walnuts, but unfortunately there's people in our house that should not eat walnuts, and I'm not a huge fan of chewing nuts in my desserts. Not a huge fan of that, so we're just gonna skip that today. If you're a walnut fan, go for it. Although I doubt you'll be making this because you're watching me make it. If it's good, go for it, but it doesn't smell great right now.
Smell it out here.
That looks good. I don't know if I'm just being exposed to it more, but I don't smell the tomato soup as much. It just smells like spice cake. But it looks like it has tomato soup in it. It most definitely has tomato soup in it. So then we're gonna pour that into our greased and floured pan. Oh, it's so thick, you just kind of gotta plop it in there. I would think that the cream cheese icing might make it taste better, but I have my doubts. Gotta get all the batter out. Don't want to waste any of this delicious cake. I'm going to taste it. It tastes like a spice cake. I don't really get tomato soup, but you can definitely smell tomato soup. And it's saltier than I would expect. Couple taps. No, I'm banging on the counter. It'll be way too loud. So, or I'm putting it in the oven for 1.25 hours. 1 hour and 15 minutes this thing takes to bake. So, got everything in there. It doesn't taste terrible. I might whip up a little glaze to put on top to add a little sweetness just because it is pretty salty from just tasting the batter. Yep, going in the oven. Have a nice rest for 1.5 hours. So, we're back a half an hour later. I figured I'd give it a little peek, see how it's going. We looked up a couple other recipes for a tomato cake, and some of them said half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. So I figured give it a half an hour, take a peek, see what's going on. Yeah, that looks like it's coming along pretty good. It smells really good. It smells spicy. So, we are back, and it started to get really kind of dark on the top, so I only baked it for about 40 minutes, so an hour and a half it would be toast. So I don't know. I hope that people who were baking back in the day had more common sense, because it definitely smells done. It smells like a spice cake. It still looks like it has tomatoes in it, but at this point we're supposed to let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes, and then I'll turn it out onto a rack, and we'll see how the whole thing looks. And I decided, since I'm not doing the cream cheese frosting, that I'm going to just dust it with a little bit of powdered sugar to add that little bit of flair to it. I greased this baby up, so I'm hoping that it turns out okay. Flip. Oh, yep, popped right out. Oh, okay. Maybe I may have floured my pan a little too generously. Yeah, it looks like there's some, like, parts where there was too much flour in spots, so it looks kind of gross on top. You live and you learn. It smells okay. It smells like spice cake and soup. It does smell like soup. Do you want to come smell it? Do you want to come look at it? you want to come over?
I don't want to get on camera because I look gross.
Yeah, you do look kind of gross.
We'll edit this out. I'm editing, so we can edit this out.
So I got my little sieve here, and yes, I could have used this to sift my flour, but I wasn't going to. Actually, to powder it, because it's warm, but not too warm that it should melt the powdered sugar. If not, we'll add more, because it probably needs all the help it can get. There, it almost looks edible now. Lots of beautiful powdered sugar on top, so you can't see the flour that got cooked into it. But here we are now with our cake. It is a cake. It is cake-like. And it's still really warm, so we're gonna let it cool for another, like, maybe 20 minutes, and then we'll cut into this bad boy and see how it tastes. I am excited. Okay, so we're back for taste test. I was gonna say, Doug's with me to eat it. I blame him. This was actually all his idea. Yeah. I'm just better at cooking than him.
Wasn't necessarily planning on eating it myself.
I was like, if we're gonna make it, you gotta eat it. It's still a little warm. Oh, you're getting a nice big piece.
No.
I was gonna say, if you don't eat it, I don't blame you. So, it smells like spice cake. Like, it doesn't really...
No, there's a little whiff of something off there. Like, there's something there that doesn't belong in a cake.
The tomato soup aroma has kind of aired out a little bit.
Yeah, you wouldn't know what is off to smell it, but you would realize it doesn't smell right.
Yeah, and it doesn't look right either. It clearly has, like, tomato soup in it. Okay.
I don't think it's clear that it's tomato soup. Like, unless you know.
Nope, there's that tomato soup smell. I actually kind of like it. I want more spice.
I think the spice level's fine. Yep. This is fine.
It tastes pretty good.
This is a fine cake.
I think the cream cheese frosting would be a nice addition to it.
It's a little dry, surprisingly.
Yeah, I don't know what they were on about, Campbell's, with that hour and 15-minute bake time.
No, if you had baked it for the whole hour and 15 minutes, it would have been a brick.
Yeah, it was probably done when I checked it at a half an hour, but the one spot was still a little wet, so I wanted to make sure it was cooked through.
It was good.
Yeah.
It's a good cake.
I'm not mad at it.
No.
I'm not gonna make it again.
No.
But,
Well, maybe once.
I would say, well, now we have to try it with cream cheese frosting.
When you realized that it didn't smell entirely like tomato soup after it came out of the oven, I thought about running out quick while it was cooling and getting some cream cheese. But my laziness took precedent.
But, yeah. Pretty happy with how this turned out.
Oh my god.
The next one...
I'm still eating it.
Yeah.
These raisins are the star of the show, too. Oh my god.
The royal raisins from nuts.com.
I love these raisins.
They're really good. Yeah. Pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised.
I'm gonna wait the rest of this.
Oh, okay. I would say we'll finish the cake. It won't go to waste. The raisins were not wasted. But, thanks for watching. And I hope that we make more of these so we can hang out some more. It's been real fun. And see you next time. Is it, oh, it's recording? We're doing a test. Doing a test. We're doing a test. We're gonna make a cake with fucking tomato soup.